Yeah, belum program. Yes, 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 brother. So, our camera, yes, apa, na maintain, kabisa, na maintain. Thank you so much. That's a popularly known song as Malaika. It's an African song here. It's a song that was sung originally from Kenya, that is Fadhili Williams, but later on redone by Miriam Makeba from down South Africa. So ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate the bands once more. Let's appreciate the different faces band. Let's appreciate Obiye Makofi, please. Obiye Makofi, let's appreciate the band. Thank you. Our chief guest, the Cabinet Secretary for Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, Waziri Wetu, is around with us. And I'll request that once he's making his way to the main hall, we will all rise up and welcome him. And in that order, we will still remain standing as we have our national anthem, the Kenya national anthem, and then we also have the East African anthem as we begin. Since Sicily was a land of Kameli, we want to, we have the privilege of hearing from our CS today, and our chair, the chair who is here, and we have the MD, Dairy Board. Thank you very much. She is already here. Welcome our guest. They're touring an exhibition plant outside there where we have the cooling plant, and it's a demo of a cooling plant, and at the same time pasteurizing plant that uses no electricity completely. That's solar and biogas. That is what we are doing today. We're saying a quality milk for health and wealth and for the planet. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we know of the agenda today is to officially witness the official launch of the Kenya Dairy Industry Sustainability Roadmap for 2023 to 2032. That will be done officially by our CS, who is around here with us today. I want to also appreciate the different stakeholders who are here, the milk processors who are here in advance, and the wonderful lady from the Danish embassy who is here with us. It's so lovely to have you with us today. We are so happy, literally very happy. And the other team that are here. We want to thank you for arriving here on time. You were here on time. And we want to thank you also for your patience that you've had because of the agenda that we have right here. And the agenda is goes round from people, planet, and prosperity and governance. So we will get to know deeper and deeper. But the unifying factor here is milk. Safe milk, quality milk, high production of milk, goes round and round and round from pasture, from our cow, how to maintain our cow. That's why I mentioned specifically one lady who's here that gives all round the hygiene, the daily hygiene. So we want to thank the Dairy Board and other stakeholders and other partners who are here for enabling this event to take place today. We are very excited and very happy. Thereafter, we will, after the national anthem, then we will have our prayer. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all rise up now. Let's all rise up. Let's all be upstanding as we welcome. Tupigie makofi waziri wetu wenye anafika hapa. Karibu sana waziri. Karibu sana our cabinet secretary, ministry. I would request now all of us to remain standing as we kama uko na kofia ambayo sio rasmi tafadhali uivue kwa sababu sisi ni wazalendo. We want to request that we have the Kenya national anthem and the East African anthem. Then we'll still be standing as we have our prayer. So, ladies and gentlemen, silence for the national anthem. May I call upon Jacqueline Kitol to give us the opening prayer. Honorable CS, please.
So let's start off for a word of prayer. Thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for bringing us to this point in time where we are going to deliberate on the future of this country, especially in the dairy sector. We thank you for bringing us here in one piece. We thank you for those who are here and those who are about to come, and those who will interact with the outcomes of this session. We put this day into your hands, and we ask that you continue to walk with us. First, in Jesus' name we pray.
Thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause to Jackie. Thank you so much. We be seated. Thank you so much. Karibu sana waziri. Welcome. May I take this opportunity now to welcome the Director, Regulatory Services, to give us the opening remarks. that is Dr. William Maritim. Please, Daktari, karibu sana, utukaribishe. Asante.
Good morning everyone. Thank you so much, Vasili. The representative of the PS, Dr. Chepchen, our chairman, Cheneshu, our MD, our visitors, our partners and colleagues, karibuni sana. Mine is just to say this is the day that the Lord has made. We really look forward for this day. With Wasiri, we walked this journey from September last year, and we came out with a report by April this year. We have been dusting it, waiting for this day. That's why we are so glad. One, as Kenya Dairy Board. Two, as the team we came up with the report, which we shall acknowledge them later, maybe by our MD. But I just want to say in few words that the Kenya Dairy Sustainability Roadmap is a 10-year plan, which for us, this is a transformative kind, which we really believe it will change our dairy industry. We developed this report with Kenya Dairy Federation farmers, the processors, of course with Kenya Dairy Board as a lead, and we were supported by USAID. So to me, I think this is an actualization day, and I don't want to say much. We are just here to appreciate and really thank you for coming to grace this day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate Dr. William Maritim, that's the Director of Regulatory Services, for his opening remarks. And thank you so much, Dr. for taking us through, for us to know what we are here and why we are here today. And for a brief history about the dairy industry, we all know about dairy, but a little bit about the regulatory section and the dairy industry. We know we have experts in the house. Let's give our hands together. Let's put our hands together for the Managing Director, Kenya Dairy Board. That's Margaret Kibogi, wonderful lady around here. Karibu sana. Our MD, please welcome and give us a brief history about the dairy industry. Karibu sana.
Our chief guest today, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock Development, the Chairman, Kenya Dairy Board, Mr. Janesh Mugo, the representative of our PS, the Department of Livestock Development, Dr. Chepchen, the CEOs present, our stakeholders, our partners. Good morning. Good morning. Are you okay? We are very happy to have you here this morning for this launch of the Dairy Industry Sustainability Report Roadmap 2023-2033. Waziri, you are aware that the Kenya Kwanza government has focused on this sector, and a lot of work has been done to ensure that we prepare this sector to higher heights. So I'm happy that together with other stakeholders, which we are going to recognize, we develop this roadmap. The dairy industry is one of very important in the agricultural sector. You're all aware, contributing 4% of the GDP, valued at $266 1.6 billion in terms of turnover. We are able to process about an average of 65 million liters, rest going to informal sector, and we have seen a growth in this sector. We have also had challenges in the dairy sector, which is because we are very dependent on rain, rain-fed agriculture because of pasture production. And we are happy when we have rains, and we have seen milk production, the country go up between May and now, and with the continued rainfall across the country, enhanced rainfall across the country, we see our production going up. However, when we have challenges for drought or minimum rains, we also see production of milk dropping. This is an in approach, is the one that is not predictable, and it is affecting our sector. We are looking at this sector being sustainable in terms of productivity, utilization of our installed capacity. We're currently having an installed capacity of 5 million liters a day, and we are barely halfway in terms of utilization of the infrastructure that is in place because of the seasonality, the cost of production at farm level, cost of processing at processing is equally having those challenges. We have issues of the climate, and we have addressed this in this report, and we're looking at areas of mitigation and going forward in this sector. We want to appreciate all our stakeholders in this sector who have been very supportive, very active, very vibrant, from the farmers, the transporters, our processors, and of course our consumers. And consumers, of course, we still have issues of quality, our challenges at farm level. We have challenges of quality at the level of collection, and this is as a result of the way we handle our milk, usage of pesticides, usage of antibiotics, and we have continuously as a board engaged our stakeholders in issues of capacity building, information to ensure the same is adhered to, so that we achieve the quality that is desired for our consumers, both internally and externally. So therefore, we want to urge our farmers to continue supporting this sector in terms of producing quality milk, observing withdrawal periods, and of course being compliant to our regulations, the set standards of the country and the international standards, so that we're able to achieve also the target of our export market. Waziri, we have made very good progress and penetration in areas of export, and last year, 2022, we were able to export dairy products valued at 5 billion. We are optimistic that we'll double the same this year, with of course working together with other government agencies and stakeholders, because we really know that we have a market out there. We are working, of course, on mitigating and bringing down the cost of producing milk, which I think your ministry is actively addressing issues of cost of producing milk. What we are looking at as a sector is actually the margins. We want to improve the margins in terms of profitability and sustainability, farmer having money in the pocket, the processor having money in the pocket, and the consumer getting value of their money. Therefore, making the industry profitable and sustainable and very attractive to both the young and the old. Currently, of course, the youth are having challenges in those areas. I know, Waziri, you are addressing the issue of feed and fodder for a sector, which is one of the biggest challenges of the cost in producing our milk. We know that we have communicated this in detail, and recently we had a meeting which was championed for the industry to meet His Excellency the President on issues of interventions. And I know those interventions that will be presented will be addressed at that level, and we will see the industry moving to the next level. Coming to today's launch, which is the sustainability report, roadmap, the 10-year sustainability report. It is a very, very transformative guide that we hope will accelerate and transition the dairy industry to the world-class excellence, resilient and great impact. We are the biggest producer of milk, not only in the region of EAC, also in Africa. Meaning, this is a sector that has the highest potential to turn around in issues of livelihoods, in issues of safety and quality of our milk. This report, or the roadmap, presents a vision of the future where the dairy sector becomes thriving, enriching lives, and embracing environmental responsibility. We know the gases, the greenhouse gases, when it comes to environment, manure management, and we have seen, Waziri, what was presented here, that it is possible for us to store our milk in coolers and even pasteurize off-grid, clean energy. And along the dairy value chain, that is already in place, and we have targets in this project. When we look at this report, we have 4 pillars, we have 26 targets and 12 goals. We have, of course, roadmap in terms of implementation, monitoring, and the way it is truly put in place. It is our expectation that this roadmap will enable the country employ modern technologies and climate-smart approaches in terms of processing, production, and of course ensuring that we surpass, we're a milk deficit country because of growth of our population and stagnation in production. We are not able to meet the demand of internally, and we have targets to export. We have been trying to balance, and that's why we are still 85 of what we process is still liquid. We need to do high-value products so that we're able to export and meet the customer preferences. This roadmap, of course, has been aligned with the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the Vision 2030, and the opportunities in terms of rural transformation. We envisage that the responsibility of steering the industries to greater heights rests in the shoulders of empowered new generation of anchored enterprises, including few large and integrated processors, cooperatives, and service providers. Kenya Dairy Board, we are going to champion the implementation, the monitoring of this roadmap, and we are very committed as a board so that we can be able together transform the industry. We are going to establish a sustainability office within the board to just be looking at this roadmap. Of course, together with the support of our cabinet secretary, the chairman, the board, our PS will ensure the success of the roadmap. We want to extend our appreciation to our partners. USAID, Kenya Investment Mechanism, for their crucial funding of this development of this report and support, the technical committee, the steering committee. We took the shortest time to develop this report, just 1 year, and we're all in the field. We want to thank the Kiambu County. They gave us a lot of support in terms of feedback and of course reaching out to the stakeholders. At this point, I'd like the technical working group, if they can be upstanding so that they can be appreciated if they are here. We had our chair, Dr. Mariti. We had a co-chair, Emmanuel Kabaki. Where is Emmanuel? Please clap for them. Miss Jacqueline Itoni, Tetra Pak. Robert Karioki, Business Age. Anthony Mbidi, Family Bank. We had Lucy Mite USAID in Q. We had David Minor, Performator, the training champion of the sector. Paul Ndugu, a staff. Kituto Kitile, Dr. Lina Boyd, New KCC. We had KPMG team. They're here. We had Tracy Lane, who was the team leader as our consultant. Wangui Muredi, Elizabeth Mungai, Brian Danville, I think is in absentia, and Charles was also there. In this development, we had the steering committee. I was chairing the steering committee. That is myself chairing. We had Vice Type, CEO Brookside, Nixon Sige, CEO NCC, and we had Henry Otsula. I think he's here. Please clap for him, representing the steering committee. The development of this roadmap was very inclusive, very detailed. This team were very committed to ensure that we deliver a good report that is going to see transform this sector. Finally, we firmly believe that this comprehensive framework will transform the sector and serve as a compass for stakeholders as they forge ahead on their sustainability journey. Together, let us strive towards a common goal of building a sustainable dairy industry in Kenya, one that empowers communities, nature's environment, and unlock unprecedented opportunities for all. The future of dairy begins here, this framework. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's all appreciate the MD, Dairy Board. Thank you so much for giving us a brief history about it, and you've also opened our eyes that this is actually the white gold. CS, Waziri Wetu, this is the white gold. As people have black gold somewhere else, we have the white gold, and the white gold is this milk. This is what gives us employment. But one thing that I will also request Waziri, we need to do something about the youth, because I tend to believe that the youth, a lot of youth are in towns. They only go to the village only once in a year, and the closest they can come to a cow is a cup of tea. So we want to request that we put in a lot of effort in trying to see that we hand over the baton to the new generation and to the young generation at the same time on issues of this milk. Otherwise, in the near future, the likes of me and you and MD and the rest, once we are a little bit tired, tunauza ng'ombe yote na maziwa yanakamilika. Thank you so much, Madam MD. Asante sana. It's now a high time, and you can see as we prepare this. We have a presentation from KPMG. As Madam MD has just mentioned, that this is among the team that were organizing and making sure that they put together things to work out on this daily sustainability roadmap. Now I want to request on behalf of the team, Tracy Lane, to be here. To begin my coffee, let's appreciate Tracy Lane from KPMG as she prepares to give us a presentation here. Welcome. We are ready for it. And thank you, team. Karibu sana.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us today, and thank you for the kind introductions. My name is Tracy Lane. I'm an Associate Director at KPMG East Africa, where I lead on our climate change and sustainability initiatives across the region. KPMG had the privilege of working with Kenya Dairy Board, with the steering committee and the technical working group to develop this Kenya Dairy Industry Sustainability Roadmap. I also want to acknowledge the support, again, of USAID's Kenya Investment Mechanism, who supported this process as well. I was very pleased to hear the MD's remarks to state that the future of the dairy industry starts today. And I think that that's a message that I'd like to repeat in my remarks as well. The roadmap, we started the process a year ago, but it is very much a journey, a long-term journey. This is a roadmap, and we are just at the start of it. So I want to thank you all for being here today to launch this journey, and we look forward to supporting the industry on this sustainability journey. We're going to briefly walk you through some of the key elements of the roadmap. I'll bring some of my team members up to walk you through some of the details so that you're familiar with what's in the roadmap. And then we can answer any quick questions, and then we'll bring the ministry up to make some remarks after that. Oh, I see we don't have the slides. Just give me a moment before I go on.
It's not showing. Take it out, put it back in.
Very good. I'm sure it will work. Yeah. Good. We're almost there.
I can talk without the slides for a few minutes.
I think I'll go ahead without some of the slides just to keep us moving along. Hopefully they'll come up when we get into some of the more detailed elements of the presentation. But really I just wanted to start also with a few remarks about what do we mean by sustainability. So sustainability really is about meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs as well. And it's really presented as the intersectionality of environment, social and economic considerations, where all of these three aims are in balance. In the dairy sector, sustainability involves sustainable production practices, reduction of waste, use of renewable energy, and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. It also means ensuring the well-being of farmers and industry workers, and also ensuring the economic health of the sector for all players in the value chain. We also, more recently, hear the term ESG, which means environmental, social, and governance. That's an acronym that comes more from the investor lens on sustainability, and it means more of a way to measure an entity's sustainability. So ESG and sustainability are very much linked, but ESG looks more at a way to measure the sustainability of an organization. There are a number of drivers for ESG in today's context. We have a number of different stakeholders pressing for better ESG and sustainability performance. Those stakeholders include funders and investors who are increasingly tying funding and investment to strong ESG performance. We have regulators who are requiring stronger sustainability performance and disclosure around risks to sustainability. For example, climate risks is a strong driver for regulators to require sustainability reporting and sustainability action. We have business partners and customers also looking for stronger sustainability performance before doing business with an entity. That means your business partners up and down the value chain are expecting strong commitment and action on sustainability. The media, of course, is also a key driver of sustainability, and there is a strong possibility of both positive and negative press and publicity related to sustainability actions. Employees are increasingly wanting to work for organizations with strong sustainability performance, and also the communities where we operate are expecting entities to take sustainability seriously and make a commitment to ensuring the well-being of the communities within which we operate. Those drivers have brought us here today and have brought Kenya Dairy Board to this point, really ready to make this commitment to a long-term sustainable future, but not just the Kenya Dairy Board, but the players in the industry. All of you here today will have a role to play in taking the industry forward on a sustainable path. With that, I'd like to bring up my colleague Ephraim Njega, who has been a key member of the technical team working with the team to develop this roadmap, to take you through some of the key elements of the roadmap, including some of the targets and commitments being made. Hopefully, in just a moment, we will get the slides up on the screen, but hopefully, in any case, we'll be able to walk you through.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. We seem to be having some issues with the technology, but I will continue with the presentation at once it is ready for display. We shall continue. So the first issue I want us to discuss is the question of why do we need a sustainability report at this particular point for this sector. One of the issues that has already been discussed is the question of the externalities that are associated with this industry. The agriculture sector is one of the leading contributors of greenhouse gas emissions, and the dairy sector is a contributor of that. So it's a question that we need to start So as I have said, we have the question of greenhouse gas emissions, and we need to lower that. And the challenge we have in the industry is because of low productivity, we have a very large number of animals. And what this sustainability report is proposing is to increase productivity, and then we lower the herd size so that we can lower our greenhouse gas emissions. The other question is in terms of the industry, the production and the supply. when you look at growth over the last 10 years, you find there has been a stagnation. We have been around this level of 3-4 billion liters of cow milk. And as you know, the population is growing constantly, but our supply keeps on fluctuating. So the end result of that, we have a declining per capita supply, which is causing a shortage of milk. So we have to, in this report, our plan is to stabilize the supply so that we don't have to be having these fluctuations. That will ensure we can meet domestic demand and we can also have sufficient milk for export markets. So if we carry on with business as usual, we are going to have this problem continuing, but it's also going to get worse because climate change is getting worse and the population is growing. So there's a report and the plan we have is to ensure we have sufficient supply of milk. Then also there is a question of the processing capacity which is in the country. We are not utilizing it, which means we are not creating jobs that we ought to be creating, and we also ought to be exporting milk and creating a source of forex instead of when we are importing milk and we are causing unnecessary forex leakages, and this leads to the depreciation of the shilling, a problem which we are all aware of. This is a summary of the entire roadmap. You will find that we have a vision for the sector. We have priority topics, and these topics are organized into 4 pillars. The people pillar, the planet pillar, prosperity pillar, and the principles of government or governance. Then we have flagship projects that are going to be implemented so that the targets can be met. And the vision for this roadmap and for sustainability of this industry is a prosperous and environmentally sustainable dairy industry. The motto is milk for our health, wealth, and the planet. The key sustainability issues categorized into the 4 pillars. Under the pillar of planet, we have the question of emission of greenhouse gases. We have climate vulnerability due to frequent droughts. We have high environmental footprint in terms of water consumption, waste, including solid waste, energy, land, and biodiversity. Then we also have the question of animal welfare, because for us to have a sustainable industry, we also need to ensure we observe high standards of animal welfare. At the prosperity, we are addressing the question of low milk productivity at farm level. We are also looking at the question of meeting demand and ensuring we have enough milk for the export markets. We are also looking at the question of profitability. If you look at our farmers, you find that the cost of producing milk has escalated beyond what can be described as profitable or even competitive. And as a result, we have to look into ways in which we can bring down the cost of production and increase profitability for farmers and ensure sustainability of this industry. Then there is also a question of the utilization of installed capacity, as I've explained. When you are doing 50% of your capacity, it ensures your cost per unit is very high because of failure to utilize the economies of scale that would bring down the cost per unit. So this is also one of the factors that is contributing to very high cost of milk even at the retail level. Question of post-harvest losses is also a problem, and as we have seen, there are many technologies including on-farm coolers, bulk coolers, and the report, the roadmap has a plan to ensure that most of the milk which is produced is able to go through the cold chain, and we are able to ensure that the quality of the milk is safe and there are no post-harvest losses. And then the people pillar, there is a question we have as far as milk consumption is concerned. We have issues of product quality and safety, and those ones they also need to be addressed, because also for us to export milk in some markets, the quality and safety requirements are very stringent. So if we don't reach those kind of standards, we will not be able to access those markets. Then there is a question of livelihoods along the dairy value chain. This is one of the greatest or the largest employers. And we need to ensure that people are not just employed, but they are getting a decent livelihood out of their employment, even for our farmers. Then the other question is under the pillar of principles of governance. There is a question of governance, which is a threat to sustainability of enterprises, especially when you look at cooperative level. I'm sure all of us, we have read in the news, some cooperatives, they are having ragos, others have collapsed, and that is a big challenge. All those are issues that are caused by governance. Then there is a question of inclusivity, issues of gender, and also the question of youth participation. I think in every value chain in this country, we have a question of aging farmers, and the youth are not getting to the industry. So that raises questions of sustainability. When the old farmers are no longer doing farming, what happens to this industry? So for us to have a sustainable industry, we need to ensure that our young people are getting into dairy industry. I'm going to be very fast because of time, but I'm sure the report will be circulated, and this PowerPoint presentation will also be circulated. So we have a number of goals and also targets under each goal. At the planet, the goal is to lower environmental footprint of the dairy industry to support the country in meeting its nationally determined contribution targets. So you find we have those targets that we have promised to the world that we are going to lower greenhouse gas emissions, and every sector has to play its role. So for the dairy sector, it has its target, how much it's going to do to contribute to the promises the country has made to the world. There's a goal, under this goal we have 8 targets, and one of them is to lower GHG emissions by 35% from the 2021 levels. This will be through the use of green energy, such as biogas, solar, geothermal, and tree planting. We have seen a demonstration of what biogas can do, and as a country, we have a rich resource of geothermal energy that can be used even to pasteurize milk. So we can utilize that and lower the environmental footprint of the industry. The other issue is for processors. We have a lot of energy leakages, and we need to ensure that 90% of our processors are doing their production in the energy efficient methods. There is also the issue of consumption of water. This industry consumes a lot of water, and we need to reduce that by 20%. We also have to reduce the wastewater and the water use, so that for 1 liter of milk produced, you only consume 1.5 liters of water. For 1 liter of milk produced, you consume 1.5 liters of water. As for now, we are doing much higher than that. Then also the question of solid waste from farm level to processing, it has to be properly managed, and we want to ensure that there is 90% treatment of solid waste. On the question of discharge, when processing of milk is being done, there is a lot of wastewater that comes out of that, and its quality currently, it needs to be improved, so that what we are discharging into the environment, it does not cause any harm. Then we have a question of, we cannot be able to mitigate all the greenhouse gas emissions at farm level. So what the industry is proposing to do is to make sure we also take part in the National Tree Planting Initiative. We have our target as a country to do 15 billion trees, and this industry is committing to do about 5% of that, so that we can mitigate against those kind of whatever residue GHG emissions we cannot deal with, we can be able to deal with them in another way, so that at the end of this roadmap, we should be at net zero in terms of emissions. And the other issue is compliance with animal welfare. At least 90% of the farmers should be compliant. Regarding the goal of prosperity, the goal is to produce sufficient milk to meet domestic demand at export targets in a competitive way. I think the question, we have been talking a lot about production, but even if you are to increase production, if you are not competitive, it means you cannot be able to access market, it means you cannot be sustainable. So it is a very rich goal. We need to do the production and then do it competitively. And to do that, we have set 5 targets. One of them is to raise production from 95% to at least 105% of domestic demand. So what that means is that we will be able to have enough milk for the domestic market, and out of that there will also be another extra 5% or more that is going to be exported. The other target is increasing productivity from 10 liters to 20 liters per lactating cow per day at micro commercial dairy farm level. So what this roadmap does is it classifies dairy farms into different categories. So we have pastoralists, we have subsistence farmers, and we have what we are calling micro commercial dairy farm. A micro commercial dairy farm is not a subsistence farm, it's a small farm, but it is doing dairy farming as a business. And the purpose of this roadmap is to ensure that we have 2 categories of milk production. We have a baseload production that comes from the commercial sector and which is not affected by climate. So that baseload production will not be fluctuating. Then we have the intermittent supply which comes from pastoralists, from subsistence. This one is hit very hard by climate change. And when it happens, even if we were to lose 50 or 70% of that supply, the country will still be able to meet its needs and still be able to export milk. That is one of the most important aspects of this roadmap. We need to deal with this issue of fluctuation, and the only way to deal with it is through commercialization, and we have a very clear strategy on how that is going to happen. Then the other question is quality of feeds and fodder, and the cost needs to be lowered by at least 50% from the 2023 highs. Also, we need to increase processor capacity utilization from less than 50% to at least 80%. And the question of seasonality, we need to lower it from plus or minus 10% to below plus or minus 5%. And the people pillar, the goal is to supply quality, safe, affordable milk while providing decent livelihoods across the dairy industry. And in that, we also have 5 targets. One of them is to ensure that 80% of the milk produced, it goes through the value chain, whether it is formally or informally marketed. And the other goal is to ensure that at least 50% of the marketed milk output is formally processed. The third goal is to lower the retail price of milk by at least 20% from the early 2023 highs. The 4th target is to ensure that the dairy farm level owners, they get monthly earnings that are at least double the minimum wage. And the target number 5 is to raise employment income to at least the gazetted minimum wage across the dairy industry. At the principles of governance, we have one goal, and that goal is a properly governed and highly inclusive dairy industry. To realize that, we have a number of targets. One of them is about developing various codes, such as gender policy, inclusivity policy, supplier code of ethics, and all that. This should be done by at least 90% of the large corporates in the sector. The other issue is to ensure that the industry members, they do sustainability reporting. When you look at other industries, they are much ahead of us. They are doing their sustainability reporting, and in our industry we have a few processors who are doing it, but we want over 70% of these corporates to be doing an annual sustainability report. We also want KDB to be issuing an annual sustainability and sector data report. Also, cooperative and board members, they should all be trained on issues of governance. And all cooperatives also, because of transparency, they should ensure that they publish their financial statement. Then we need to reduce the average age of a dairy farmer by at least 10 years in order to ensure the farmers are young and we can guarantee sustainability of the industry. Then also the question of women participation, we need to make sure we have a balance 50-50%. So in terms of approaches and the strategies that we are proposing to undertake, under the issue of planet, we have the topic of emissions and energy management. And the issue is to reduce energy consumption and they invest in issues to do with renewable energy, particularly biogas and also solar. Then there is a question of machinery. We need to do retrofitting and ensure we have machines that are energy efficient, and also ensure regular energy audits so that what you are doing you can be audited, and if you have areas you can improve, you can get that information. Regarding water management, we are also proposing that there is adoption of conservation systems both at farm level and the industry level to reduce water losses and the waste, and the efficient utilization of water along the dairy value chain, especially the question of recycling and ensuring that no water goes to waste if it can be used for any other purpose. Then at the waste and the effluents, we are looking at farms. Many farms have issues to do with this large biogas, lack of biogas, which can help to manage that, and we have targets where we want a certain number of farms, they should have biogas kits and they be able to manage solid waste while producing renewable energy for their operations. Then soil and biodiversity, we are looking at the question especially of this manure discharge because it is a big problem to the environment. Once it gets into the water systems, it causes a lot of pollution, and that is going to be assisted with the question of biogas and the proper solid waste management. Regarding animal welfare, we need to look at the Animal Welfare Act, which is there. It's out of date and it has to be upgraded in order to fit with the emerging concerns in that regard. Regarding prosperity, I've already explained what the strategy is about. It's basically to commercialize the dairy sector by ensuring that most of our milk is coming from commercially operated dairy farms that are climate change resilient and also climate proof, so that we don't have this question of fluctuations. Then increasing productivity, there is question of increasing access to quality and affordable fodder, matching breeds to environment and enterprise goals, and having hard structures that optimize profitability while ensuring environmental sustainability. So the plan is to have, if you run a farm, you have a dairy herd which meets your profitability goals, but you also make sure you reduce your carbon footprint by having the right herd size. Then training of dairy farmers, and also the question of extension. There is already some work which is going on in this industry where farms can share a dairy farm manager, because the micro commercial farms, they cannot manage to hire a dairy farm manager, a professional manager. So you can have where you share these managers. If it's 50 farms, they can share one manager. One day he is in this farm, next day he is in another, and therefore you will be able to professionalize the dairy farms without incurring a lot of cost. Then insurance of livestock, because the question of sustainability is also about risk management. So you don't want a question where when your herd dies because of whatever reason, then you close business. There should be business continuity, and that can be ensured through livestock insurance. To lower the cost of feed, there is a lot of need for expansion, mechanization, and irrigation of large fodder farms. And we have target of having at least 350,000 acres at the commercial fodder production. Then diversification of fodder, we need to look into emerging fodder and get into that. And also creation of fodder reserve systems. This is very important for purposes of managing fluctuations. We want to make sure that we have a fodder reserve system that ensures we have fodder throughout the year regardless of the prevailing climatic conditions. And that is what will ensure we have sustainable and we have stable supply of milk throughout the year regardless of how the weather patterns are. Then lowering cost of concentrate feeds, and here we need to work with the processors, and the processors, they need to make sure they can increase their operations. For example, processors who make animal feed, they can also be making things like cooking oil or even flour for human consumption, and out of that they get the raw materials for feeds, which is going to lower the cost of feeds. And then there is need also to look at the taxes which are charged on animal feeds, materials, machines, and all that. So the idea is to, instead of taxing the input, you tax the output. Because when you tax input, you curtail production, and in the end you'll have nothing to tax. So if you can ensure that the inputs are not taxed, but you focus more on taxing the output, that will make sense, because it will ensure you're producing at a competitive cost, and when you tax the output, you are not going to make the milk products to be above the reach of the consumers. Then the question of lowering labor cost, we need to do a lot of automation, a lot of mechanization, because here in Kenya we have a question of labor utilization efficiency in the industry. It's very poor. You can find one farmer is only dealing with 3 cows, 5 cows, 7 cows. It's a very poor utilization of labor. When you are looking out there, you find one laborer is dealing with 40 cows, 50 cows. So this is what we need to look at it, so that we can pay those laborers well and they are dealing with a higher number of cows. The question of capacity utilization also, a lot of research is needed. We need to know what is the cost of processing milk, so that we can be able, when we are coming up with the price of milk for the farmers, we make sure we address the concerns of everybody across the value chain. Regarding the people strategies, the question of product safety, we need to increase the access to cooling technologies. I know we have been doing a lot of work in this regard, but we also need to go backwards and look at on-farm cooling of milk, so that we don't just have coolers at a place where the farmers might not be able to access them. Then increasing the share of milk that is formally processed, as I've said, we need to change the taxation policies to ensure we tax the inputs. We don't tax inputs, we focus on taxing the output. Increasing farmers, employees, as I've described, if we are able to increase our labor utilization efficiency, we will have fewer laborers, but they will be better paid. Then lowering the retail price of milk, we need to look at ways where we can green this sector. For example, the question of transportation, we can ensure that we have green transportation and we lower the milk distribution cost, among other things that are addressed there, including reduction of losses. Because when you reduce losses, you also reduce your cost, and you can be able to deliver the milk at an affordable price. Then regarding principles of governance, in the question of increasing the participation of young people, there is a recommendation we are making. You know, most of our schools, they have dairy farms. And these dairy farms can be commercialized, and they can be used to introduce young people to dairy farming at that level, so that when they leave school, they already have an idea about how dairy farming works, and they have an interest in it. Increasing women participation, we are looking at even working on legislation, so that we ensure that the boards in these cooperatives, they are gender sensitive and they are gender representative. Regarding the question of governance, the KTB, through this roadmap, they will ensure they provide guidelines on sustainability reporting by all the value chain actors. To realize these targets, we have developed a number of flagship projects. Under the question of planet, one of the key flagship project is the question of biogas. And we need to ensure as many farms as possible have access to biogas kits, and there are targets that we need to meet over a certain period of time. Then the question of cow barn design and upgrade, you find in many of our dairy farms, the cow barns which they are having, they are not up to standard. And there is a project that will help them to design proper cow barns, and the aim is to ensure that those cow barns, they assist in ensuring there is proper animal welfare. The other question is about cooling plants and the process retrofitting project. As we have said, in these processors, we have machines that are not energy efficient and they need the retrofitting so that they can be upgraded into modern technologies that are more energy efficient and which will also help in lowering the cost of production. The goal of tree planting also, as I have discussed, the industry over a period of time will continue taking part in that and meeting a certain level of targets. At the prosperity pillar, we have the National Fodder and Feed Commercialization Acceleration Project. And this project is about ensuring there is fodder production and there is a reserve system to conserve that fodder and ensure it's available throughout the year. There is also the question of having model farms that can be at sub-county level, and these farms are going to help to accelerate commercialization by doing demonstration, by doing training, and helping farmers to understand how a commercial dairy farm is supposed to be operated. Under the People Project, we have the question of access to milk coolers, and what we are looking at is to ensure we have on-farm coolers, because what the roadmap proposes is a micro commercial dairy farm is supposed to produce at least 50 liters of milk per day. So this farm should also have a small solar cooler that can be available at the farm so that they can even consolidate the evening and the milk and the morning milk so that it doesn't have to go into waste. At the principles of governance, we have the question of youth in dairy, and we have the project of introducing dairy farming in schools, and also undertaking training of the youth through the various social media platforms. For implementation of this roadmap, we are going to have different agencies, and the lead implementation agency will be Kenya Dairy Board. There will be a Dairy Sustainability Roadmap Steering Group, and there will be a Kenya Dairy Sustainability Working Group, which are going to have the roles to ensure that this report is implemented. At each of those institutions, the roles they are described in the report, how each institution is going to play a role to make sure that this sustainability roadmap is implemented. For monitoring and evaluation, we are going to have a framework, and we are also going to have an online portal where we can track what everybody is doing to make sure that this report is implemented. Then we're also going to have a portal where all the data can be stored to ensure everybody is reading from the same template. Then there is a question of sustainability report. We want to make sure that all the value chain actors, they do sustainability reporting, and we have a portal where we can be able to see what everybody is doing to meet the targets that are in this roadmap. Then also sustainability audits. If you do a report, you can invite an external auditor who can audit whatever you are saying you've done and verify that actually you have been able to achieve the targets which you are reporting. Then the production of a daily digest on a quarterly basis to ensure we have updates on the status of the industry on a quarterly basis. At the annual roadmap implementation progress report, all those things, once they are done, we have to look at the roadmap, and each year we see how far we have gotten in terms of meeting the targets. In terms of financing this roadmap, we cannot be able to achieve these targets without finance. And one of the recommendations is to have a dairy development fund. This fund can be funded through a levy. It can be funded, right now we have a lot of money which is being dedicated to the question of climate change. And this money can be set aside and they put in this kitty and they ensure that all the targets which have been put there, they can be financed. Of course, there is also the question of pollution. If you look at this country, we levy taxes on pollution, but those taxes, they go into financing budgets and they don't do much in mitigating the pollution. So if you have a tax, for example, on fuel, part of that money can be used to finance these biogas kits. So you are not just taxing pollution without improving the environment. So once you tax the pollution, you ensure that money also goes into protecting the environment. Because the question of biogas is critical, especially in protecting our forests and also in terms of dealing with solid waste at the farm level. Then at the dairy cooperative level, the cooperative will also set their own funds depending on the sales. And then there is a question of blended finance. We will have development organizations. They can provide support to the initiative that are there so that whatever is not marketable, it can be marketable to the bankers, to the commercial suppliers of credit. Because you find some of these initiatives to protect the environment, they may not attract bank funding. And that is where development partners, they come in, they de-risk this kind of investment, and once the project is de-risked, it becomes accessible to commercial financing. So that is all for my presentation. Maybe just before I conclude, I just want to do a call to action. I believe maybe in Africa we might be the first country which is doing a sustainability roadmap for the dairy industry. But there is a joke that goes about this country that we are very good at doing reports, but the problem comes at implementation. You know, there are rumors that we used to have very good reports in the 60s, 70s, and they were taken by what we call Asian tigers, and they were implemented, and those countries are now miles ahead of us. So maybe my call to action is, just as it has taken a lot of effort to produce this report, we also ensure that it is implemented so that we can protect our environment and we can ensure our industry is sustainable and we are able to produce sufficient milk, we are able to export, we are able to create employment, and we are also able to safeguard our forests. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. That's not enough, ladies and gentlemen. Let's appreciate Ephraim. More better to begin my coffee. Let's appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I think he's almost summarized everything that whenever we think about a cow, and I think from production, come to fodder, come to biogas, come to the climate change, come to money that has to be put in. You've touched almost everything. And I want now to, just before we get into the climax of it all, we have other stakeholders who are here, but I believe we will only have a few for, we get a feedback session, and we will move very fast. Probably we'll give one in every field. We have the processors in the house. Can we see the processors in the house? Let's raise our hands up. Please, the processors in the house. To begin my confidence, appreciate the processors in the house. And on behalf of all the processors, may I request Ambassador Ngovi Gitao from Kabianga Dairy, please. Probably yeah, you are there. We can have you for a minute, please, Ambassador. Just for a feedback, and I think.
Thank you very much, MC.
It will be very important for you to be here. We are live on TV.
Yeah, I will give you. You want me to come there?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, please. We really want to.
This is not my function, so it's always better to stay out there.
It will be only just a minute. Karibu sana.
Okay, thank you very much, MC. Chief guest, CS Vituri. Chairman KDB Mugo, my good friend KDB, MD Margaret, the PS representative, and all stakeholders. Good morning. Yeah, I would like to comment about this presentation, and I would like to start by saying that we need to extend our big congratulations to KDB and its leadership for coming up with such a, I would say, detailed, well-researched, well-analyzed, and inclusive roadmap for Kenya. Congratulations, Margaret. And then I would like to comment on 3 of the 5 sustainability solutions, purely from a business point of view. The first one is on intensive and commercially oriented production. What I would like to say is that there are 2 ways we can increase production as far as milk production is concerned. The first one is you can increase the yield per animal. The second one is you can increase the number of animals. And that brings a challenge to the small farmers who we are trying to support, because they may not have the capacity or the space to increase the number of animals. So the way forward I see from that particular solution is something which we are not very comfortable with, but we may have to consider genetics if we are going to increase production per animal. We are talking about 3 liters per animal, which is too low. And we are signing a lot of agreements, bilateral, trilateral, in as far as business is concerned. And we'll be competing with countries where an animal is producing 80 liters. It will be quite a challenge for the small farmer to compete unless we take some action in that area. The other area is commercial farming. Commercial farming, and I don't want to get controversial about the greenhouse gas emissions, will lower the cost of production. At the same time, commercial farming will lead to the second sustainability solution, the animal feed and fodder. We need to produce affordable animal feed. Currently, it is not very competitive because of the way we are doing it. And the government has got land. There's a lot of land which is not being used, especially in the arid and semi-arid regions. If that land is leased to the processors, it will help a lot to improve and supply animal feed to the farmers. The last sustainability solution I want to touch on is on joint ventures. Joint ventures is very important across all the sectors. Because if you look at our trade balance, like last year, our trade balance was about $34 billion. Out of that, $25 billion were imports, and $9 billion was exports. Meaning that no matter how hard we try, we will not be able to raise enough funds to continue funding those imports. So joint ventures comes in, like in the case of farming, it is possible because we have land and we have labor to work with partners from other countries. Like if you look at the example of where we are getting a lot of our fertilizers and chemicals, like Ukraine and Russia. Russia is buying milk from Belarus. Ukraine is importing milk from Poland and other countries. We can do a bilateral agreement with them that we are taking so much from you that please take so much milk from us. I think that way we'll be able to have a sustainable industry. Finally, our installed capacity is 5 million liters. We are operating below 50%, and our target is to increase to 80%. That is visible, Margaret. It can be done, and I say yes. One challenge we are facing is the informal sector, or what general Kenyans call hawkers. And take into account that the government is trying to raise taxes, and every processor is paying cess, is paying levy, is paying income tax, is paying duty on raw materials, is paying every tax in this country, but hawkers don't pay any taxes. So how is it going to work? Secondly, it's not that farmers want to sell to hawkers. It's because of cash flow. The farmers don't have money, and the hawker gives them money. So we have sat down, we have discussed. Yes, we met in Nakuru, at State House Nakuru, with the president, and we talked about the Dairy Stabilization Fund. If those things are implemented, then the industry will be visible and very profitable. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's all appreciate Ambassador Ngovi Kitao. To begin Makofi, let's appreciate him. Ladies and gentlemen, I think he's just talked like a gentleman, and everything that he said is very true. Ladies and gentlemen, now may we move to the dairy farmers. We have the dairy farmers around here, although we don't have all of them. You know, the dairy farmers in this country. Let's raise up our hands, and on behalf of the dairy farmers, to begin Makofi. The reason why we are here
doing this roadmap, and I appreciate not only KDB, the ministry, for drawing it, and it's good to see this room, which represents a lot of belief in the sector, and therefore I'm delighted as a farmer. I've grown. Unfortunately, when I started, I was in the category of not so old. Now, from this, the roadmap wants me to exit and others to come in. So I'm a bit threatened, but it's still okay. It's good. So I appreciate the effort and the thought that has gone into this. And I really don't want to comment on the content a lot. I hope we will be able to scrutinize and take the document and think about not only the strategies, but the ideas there, and see how can we panabit them and turn them into action. There are lots. Otherwise, we can get really dragged into the issues. One of the things I also appreciate is that this roadmap is farmer-centric. It's very farmer-centric. It focuses on the farmer, which is good. And I was thinking there and sitting there and thinking, do the farmers know what this roadmap is telling us to do? In the last 10 years, according to the document, there has been near zero growth in production. But now you're saying in the next 10 years, increase production by nearly 50%. That's a real big gap. From near zero in 10 years to 50% increase in the next 10 years. I think we really need a bit of magic to achieve that. 2.5 billion is a target put. I don't know how you intend us to really achieve that. And that's a real challenge. And I was thinking, sitting there and saying, all the farmers here need to understand that they are telling us to produce milk and nearly double for some, or at least increase by that level. So I think it's a very big challenge, and I would wish that farmers can get this message. There is an expectation from everyone that we need to increase the amount of milk we produce. No matter the complaints, no matter the questions, the farmers need to hear this story. That we expect, this roadmap expects you to increase the milk that you produce. So let's share this challenge. I think it's good because it will stimulate the thinking among the farmers. And something else I've noted, 8 of the flagship initiatives that have been highlighted, again, they focus on the farm, at the farm level. So if we do that, that will be interesting, it will be good, and it means resources will go to the farms, and we can learn from there and grow. This morning I just talked to a friend of mine, and he asked me, how are you doing? And I said, just learning. And I've been in this industry for a long time, but there's nothing that never stops learning for a dairy farmer. It's constant. So the 8 flagships, flagship initiatives focus on the farm. I think it's a good, if we can deliver it, I think that will make a big change. But the issue is, can we deliver it? I think one area that I will comment on is the principles of governance. Many of us small farmers, as much as we don't fall in, our farm doesn't fall into that category, are small-scale farmers. Economies of scale, sharing of resources, working together is going to be, a deal changer. So I hope we can really focus on the governance issues Because we are not only seeing cooperatives, but we're seeing investors, individuals who step in and invest and play the role of a cooperative. What are the governance issues around that, especially in the value chain? Governance and power balances. I think that's a big issue, and I hope there will be more effort in that area. Finally, I would say this roadmap, as I said earlier, has some good ideas. Can we share them with cooperatives, with counties, and let's start calling the action you call for? We should not rely on the KDB and the ministry to drive it all. But if the roadmap is shared by different stakeholders, some will take it up and go with it. And that way, we can see those early adopters, those going ahead and work with them, rather than waiting for a central drive to this whole effort. So on behalf of farmers, we appreciate the roadmap. It's a challenge to us, and we will live up to it. And thank you all.
Thank you very much. Let's appreciate our farmer and the farmers who are here. And Haran, thank you very much. And I believe very greatly that the glory of farmers will be brought back and under the leadership of His Excellency the President, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, and with the able Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Lenturi here, things will be good for farmers. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the service providers in the house. Can we see the service providers? Let's see the service providers in the house. Let's appreciate them. Let's appreciate the service providers. And I would like to welcome on behalf of the service providers, Purity Gathuri. Purity Gathuri, this is our equipment. As you can see that equipment outside there. We have from Techwin Limited. I think we're almost coming to, probably this is the second last item, and then straight away. Welcome. Let's appreciate this lady. Let's appreciate her.
The chief guest, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, the Managing Director, the Chairman, all protocols observed, good morning. My name is Purity, and as you've heard, I'm representing the service providers, the supplier. We are suppliers of equipment in the dairy industry. And first and foremost, I would like to appreciate the Kenya Dairy Board for taking this step. We definitely cannot talk about the future of the dairy value chain and the future of this country without talking about the issue of sustainability. Secondly, I would like to appreciate the involvement of each and every stakeholders within the dairy value chain. That is definitely showing the fact that they are very serious to implement this sustainability roadmap, because we all are stakeholders in the achievement of this sustainability agenda. The next issue I would like to touch on is some matters that have been mentioned about by the earlier speakers. The Managing Director mentioned the issue of the quality of the milk, while in the KPMG report you've mentioned quite a number of issues that are touching on post-harvest losses of milk. And this is really a major issue, because you realize the last time I checked, I think about 80% of the milk producers in this country are smallholders. And these smallholders, they produce, in terms of the numbers, maybe the contribution is about 20%. So if we are to ensure that these smallholders are able to produce to capacity, then it means we are able to reverse the mathematics. If the 80% can be able to produce 80%, it's not the other way around, 20% producing 80%, then it means that we will be able to address the issue of the quantity as part of which is a major concern in this industry. Now, when we touch on the issue to do with the post-harvest losses, majority of these losses is mainly because of the issue to do with handling, lack of proper equipment to be able to handle the milk well, and the storage facilities. At the same time, we are talking of the smallholders. these are the people that are in off-grid areas. And the question of sustainability really comes, it becomes critical while addressing this issue, because the people in off-grid areas, they mainly do not have power, and so as a supplier of the equipment within those sectors, we basically need to think about a solution that will touch the majority. So as a company, we have been able to incorporate the solar and the biogas so that our equipment can be able to reach those in off-grid areas and be able to sort out the issue of post-harvest losses. Thank you very much, the KTV team, and we pledge our support at the stakeholders in this industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's appreciate Purity, Kapuri, and for those who've not visited the demo outside there, please, I request you just immediately after this, you will just pass by there and know what is happening. That is where we use biogas and use solar at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, I know there are development partners who are here, and I believe the development partners are here. Can we raise our hands? Can we see the development partners who are here? Oh, good. Let's appreciate the development partners who are here. Tuwapigie makofi, asante sana. We appreciate you so much. And on behalf, I would like to call from Food and Agricultural Organization, Johnston, who is here with us. Reggie Johnston, welcome. Karibu sana. I would like you to be on this podium for the benefit of these microphones.
Thank you. So, to the chief guests, Madam MD, the chairman, and all protocols observed, good morning. So, I'm not Ruja Johnston, but I'm standing on behalf of her. She just had to step up. My name is Phyllis Ndumu, representing FAO. So, I'm just going to give brief remarks about the partnership we've had with KDB. This is a recent activity that we recently completed, where we were, they contributed and they were part of the design project that was being undertaken, that was previously known as Pathways for Dairy Net Zero, but now is going by the name DAIMA, which is Dairy Initiatives for Mitigation and Adaptation. And some of the activities that are going to be championed there are issues to do with emissions reductions, trying to have farmers have the capacity to be able to adapt to the climate change. And some of the things that KDB and FAO and IFAD have been proposing are to do with improving management, farm management practices. We may not be able to increase, we may not necessarily have to increase the number of animals that we have, but we can always improve the ones we have by looking at interventions that can increase feed, like for example feeding, breeding. So those are some of the things that have been proposed. So KDB is at the center of this. They were actively involved, so they are already starting to implement this roadmap, and I congratulate them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate from Food and Agricultural Organization here again to Tupigie makofi. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my juncture to welcome the chairman. The chairman is around here with us. And the chairman will instead welcome the representative of the PS. Principal Secretary who is here, and then again welcome our chief guest who is around with us. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I know the chairman has a lot to say, put together with what the MD has told us, and our friend Ephraim, Jenga, and Lane, what they put together. I believe the moment we go home, we have something of value to tell our farmers, our processors, and everybody who is active in this field. So it is high time now to welcome the chairman, Kenya Dairy Board, who is here with us. Tumpigie makofi, let's appreciate him. Let's appreciate him once more. Tumpigie makofi, asante sana. Thank you very much. Welcome, chairman.
Thank you very much. Hamjambo, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, Honorable Mithika Linturi, the representative of the PS, my brother Chepchen, Doctor, the Managing Director of Kenya Dairy Board, Margaret Kibogi, plus the management represented here, CEOs present and directors present, our good representatives from USAID, our representatives from FAO. I'm told we have E-Fund with us, Danish Embassy, representatives of milk processing companies, dairy farmers, milk transporters, input service providers, representatives of KPMG, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning once more. Naomba niwasalimie kwa salamu za maziwa. Sijui kama mnajua we have greetings za maziwa. And they go like this. When I say maziwa bora, mnasema kwa afya na mali. Maziwa bora, hamjamalizia vizuri. Maziwa bora kwa afya na mali. That is our slogan as Kenya Dairy Board for the sake of the dairy sector. It is indeed great pleasure for me on behalf of Kenya Dairy Board, the Board of Directors, to welcome you to this breakfast lounge of Kenya Dairy Sustainability Roadmap 2023-2033, a transformative guide that will accelerate the transition of the dairy industry to world-class excellence. I wish to extend our appreciation to all of you for finding time to grace this occasion. I particularly want to thank the Cabinet Secretary, my friend Honorable Linturi, for accepting our invitation to preside over this event. Let me also extend our heartfelt appreciation to USAID, Kenya Investment Mechanism, for their support, for their crucial funding and unwavering support in development of this roadmap. My appreciation also goes to Kenya Dairy Board management and the staff, plus the team that led the development of this roadmap, led by MD Ms. Margaret Kibogi, and the Kenya Dairy Processors Association for actualizing the vision of developing this roadmap to its completion. Ladies and gentlemen, the dairy industry occupies a very special place in our economy, communities, and families. The industry provides a source of livelihood for its estimated 1.8 million small-scale milk producers, while generating over 1.2 million jobs across the dairy value chain support service industry. Many small and to medium dairy enterprises thrive across the country, contributing to socio-economic growth of our country. Milk and milk products are important dietary components in many communities and households, providing quality nutrition for the health and well-being of our people. This industry is a source of foreign exchange earnings through export of milk and milk products, which was estimated in 2022 to about 4.85 billion shillings. In addition, the sector contributes 44%, 12%, 4% of livestock, agriculture, and national GDPs, respectively. It's important to note, and I'm sure our CS would be better placed to mention, that if you combine tea and coffee, both of them contribute to less GDP than the dairy sector. Despite being one of the highest milk producers in Africa, Kenya has not achieved its potential, with the sector experiencing challenges such as low productivity, I think very big that, high cost of milk production, relatively low and fluctuating profitability for producers and processors, declining interest in dairy farming, decreasing availability of suitable land to sustain the sector in its current form. One of the other key challenges facing the sector is climate change, and I think it's been detailed here very well. The dairy and livestock sectors are highly sensitive to climate change and have suffered greatly from failed rain seasons in the past, resulting to higher consumer prices of milk and reduced milk production. These challenges threatens to reverse the gains made by the industry, even as it slows down our growth trajectory. We must therefore take appropriate and immediate measures to reverse this trend if we have to achieve the goals for the dairy sector as set out in the bottom-up transformation agenda better. Despite the current challenges and threats faced by the sector, we have an opportunity to completely transform the sector and boost incomes for farmers, scale up milk processing while generating economic value and creating jobs, provide quality milk to consumers, and even earn foreign revenue by enhancing dairy value addition, milk, and milk product exports. Ladies and gentlemen, for this to happen, sustainability will no longer be a choice for our industry, but rather it is a must. We are aware that dairy is a major contributor to greenhouse emissions. Having recognized this fact, the board has been very deliberate in carrying out programs aimed at supporting climate-smart agriculture in the dairy sector. Some of these programs include planting of trees. We target to plant in excess of 200,000 trees, both agroforestry and founder in the next 5 years. This year alone, we're just about to complete planting of more than 40,000 trees. So far, about 15,000 trees have been planted, with 10,000 trees being planted on 13th of November, which is a national holiday dedicated for this particular purpose. Number 2 is the biogas plants. The board will support and collaborate with stakeholders to establish and promote biogas plants. This will not only lead to reduced energy costs at household level, but also reduction of greenhouse emissions. Number 3 is the capacity building. The board undertakes trainings and sensitizations of our stakeholders along the value chain aimed at reduction of greenhouse gas emissions in the dairy sector through the adoption of renewable energy, recycling, and soil conservation. I can actually confirm that over the last few months, going into next year, February, we've been in an aggressive mode of going to almost all the counties so that we can conduct these trainings in addition to what's done on a day-to-day basis together with our partners. So ladies and gentlemen, we are however cognizant of our limitations as a board and that the challenges posed by climate change requires a broader and inclusive solution. It is for this reason that the board collaborated with the dairy processors and other players to come up with this roadmap. The 10-year Kenya Dairy Industry Sustainability Roadmap report, which we are launching today, is a framework of collective responsibility by the industry stakeholders aimed at catalyzing and accelerating industry-wide transition to a more sustainable, competitive, and low-carbon footing industry, marked by enhanced economic viability of milk producers and processors. The framework development entailed intense consultation and consensus building among the dairy industry actors, including milk processors, producer organizations, suppliers, financiers, regulators, and policymakers. So as we gather today to launch the framework, I am confident that sustainable solutions to address the critical challenges affecting the industry have been ably identified. When these are implemented, we'll have enhanced higher self-sufficiency, improved food and safety and nutrition, better care for dairy animals, and reduced impact on the environmental in compliance with laws, policies, and conventions. Ladies and gentlemen, the successful implementation of this sustainability framework calls upon all of us to be alive to the climate and weather changes taking place in our continent and all over the world. The industry is required to quickly implement climate adaptation and mitigation mechanisms to counter the effect of these extremities in weather patterns. This framework presents the best opportunity to achieve this objective. I am glad that the players who will play a key role in the implementation are all here today. My current call to you is that this document should not remain a boardroom document, but one that we will all strive to implement. Finally, friends, as I conclude, I want to thank the government and all industry players for the continued support and collaboration as we continue to work towards a dairy industry that we are proud of, that is sustainable and profitable to all of us. As a board, I want to give our commitment that we shall continue working together with industry players to implement programs that transform the dairy sector. To the farmers watching today and listening today, we plan to have our daddy in the agricultural sector. I'm sure you are all thinking about the pricing and how it's going to be. Hope our daddy, who is here today, will mention that. Today I am relieved of that responsibility to talk about that. With those few remarks, kindly join me in welcoming the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, Livestock and Development, Honorable Mithika Linturi, to give his remarks. Please let's stand together and applaud our CS as he comes to talk to us.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. Let's all be seated, please. Kwanza amjambo. Nasema kwanza amjambo. Bwana asifiwe. Asante sana. Nafikiria kabla kuingilia hotuba yangu kirasmi, allow me say one or two as a farmer. I want to say I'm very happy that the farmer from Kiambu has spoke very well when we say lazima tujuane. Waswahili hujuana kwa vilemba na before we get to the process. And I am happy that I'm in this meeting where we are all seated to appreciate the good work that has been done by the Kenyan Dairy Board as a regulator, and each one of us is here to really appreciate that work by launching the Kenyan Dairy Board Sustainability Roadmap for 2023-2032. And before I go to my official speech, I want to take 1 minute or two to speak for the farmer and also to answer some one or two issues that were raised by the good presenter from, was it you said the KPMG? Yes, from KPMG. I want to say that I'm a practitioner, and we can be able to tell you exactly the pain that our farmers go through, what is required of them, and what role each one of us must be able to play all the people represented here, or the groups, the stakeholders presented here, what we need to do to achieve the ideas or the prospects, the objectives of this report we are launching today. Specifically, I want to say that what people think is not doable or is not easy to do, of doubling or achieving our production capacity, or moving it from the 5.2 billion liters to beyond 10 or 12, is doable within less than 10 years. 10 years, in my view, is a very long time. We only need to know what is required of us, what we need to do. And when the Kenya Kwanza government, or in our manifesto, when we identified the dairy sector as an area that has one of the greatest potential of improving livelihoods, of increasing our earnings, it was not by mistake. What we need to do is take advantage of this sector, this value chain that government is seriously looking at or is supporting, and see what is required of all the stakeholders, of all the participants, to support, and I say and I repeat, to support the farmer. Because in this case, it's the farmer that is so critical. Why is the farmer critical? The farmer wakes up every morning to go and take care of his animals. For us to succeed, it is the farmer that you expect to produce, take care, proper animal husbandry, to take care of the animals, to increase the production from the 5.1 million to whatever number of liters we require. What support do we require to give our farmers? That is what the most important. One of the things that we need to do is how do we work together with our farmers to enhance production. What is his problem? I want to assure you, from a practitioner's perspective, one of the things or the challenges that we are grappling with as farmers is the quality of the feed. If we are able to get the right feed with the proper nutritional value and be able to feed our animals well, I want to assure you we will be able to increase production. Production per liter we are talking about can be increased by only looking at the quality of the feed that we have. That's why we said, yes, it is true, the processor spoke and I appreciate and I agree with him. The other area we need to look at is the improvement of the genetics. Yes, it is true, it is possible. It's one sure way of doing it, but which is one of the fastest ways of increasing production is proper nutrition for animal, the right feed quantities, the right water quantities, and you just see a change within a week or two and all things will be okay. So it is possible to increase production. How we partner with the farmer, the support we give him as the interested parties, like the processors, is what is, in my view, is important. And that is what we are looking so seriously as part of the ministry in addressing. I am saying that because I am telling you, I am a farmer and I know what I am talking about. Let me go to the genetics. The genetics is the other sure way of doing it. And the long-term commitment that we want to make, or which I can make on behalf of government, is that, yes, we're in that process. I have committed and have instruction from my boss to ensure that we increase or to change the genetics of our animals. By next year, latest April, we are able to give our farmers sexed semen at a reduced cost so that going forward, we are able to change the breed of animals. So breed or genetics is the other clear way, and for sustainability of this roadmap, there is that commitment of change of genetics. We also expect by June or July next year, we will not only be giving or serving or selling or availing in the market the sex semen. Kenya Animal Research Genetics Center, KAGRIC, we are getting into the process, or we are going to launch our embryo transfer plant, so that now we are able to give embryos to whatever animal that we want to carry that embryo for purposes of genetics improvement and breed. So I believe when we look at 10 years, we will be producing, we will not achieve 50% in years. We will have achieved beyond 100%. Because when you look at the change of genetics by way of embryo transfer, by way of sex to semen, we have long, good time for us to do it. So I want to say this, that the 10%, the 50% projection, in my view, right, won't be achieved. It's a small target, and I think we'll be able to do better. So the processors and the other stakeholders, what do we need to do to support our farmers? If the main problem is founder, let us invest in founder production. And that's why I'm saying, like, why I am in the Ministry of Livestock, Department of Livestock, we have a project we are running called the Drive Project. It's in 21 ASAL counties. And one of the components in that project is to support young men and women of this country to grow a feed for our animals. And we're inviting the young people to come over. We have $40 million that we want to spend in this space to increase animal feed production. We have money that is going to Agricultural Finance Corporation, because it's a deliberate move to increase investment in agriculture so that our farmers are able to access cheap credit to support farming. So the Kenya Kwanza government, led by His Excellency the President of this Republic, Dr. William Ruto, is committed to supporting the farmers of this country. And I believe and I agree the lives of farmers will change. What we require to do is build synergy amongst the stakeholders, get committed. And finally, before I go to my official speech, that was the story or the issue of how to bring the young people of this country into agricultural production. Where we sit as a ministry, we are doing agriculture differently. We are leveraging on technology. We are making agriculture more attractive. We are running away from that style of the hoe and the fork, it's called the hoe and the djembe. And we are getting into mechanizing agriculture so that it is attractive to our young men and women. But as we do all this, what is the most exciting, what is the most appealing thing for anyone in business? The processor wants to make good money out of processing and selling milk. Just like as the farmer, I want to get better return for my milk when I sell. So what we need to do is how we can work together so that each one of the players in this chain is able to make some good money out of what we do. And that is why government deliberately is so committed to supporting production and bringing down the cost of inputs so that the farmers of this country can be able to produce. And one thing I've learned from you is that now I must also start focusing on how we can persuade government as a way of trying to encourage people to start taxing the output than the input so that it becomes cheap and accessible for the farmers to get into. That's a brilliant idea. Is I think to me is exciting. It's something I carry from this meeting. But as you said, so much work is done and reports have been done. Yes, reports will be done, but it requires a conscious, deliberate, a passionate leader that wants to implement the reports. And I am saying this because when you give opportunity and good return to a farmer, there is money. We won't go into farming. This sector, has been a captive, was captured by cartels and people for some time. And that's why milk production on the dairy sector almost going down. It's now coming up because deliberate government efforts are there to support the processor, to support the farmer, and everybody else. But you all know, you are all aware that in the last few years, the processor or anybody else who wanted to engage in this business was never given space because of conflict of interest. So for the processors, there is good space for you to do business. For the farmer, we are really willing to give you support. So don't be worried. We are going to ensure the potential of the dairy sector to improve the well-being of our people is something that we must be able to achieve. My friend, you are the author, or you participated in coming with this report. What I didn't hear you say, because you are giving us lectures, or now where we want to get to, is what will be your particular role to ensure that this is achieved. Because it will not be achieved without the participation of everyone. There is the role of the Kenyan Dairy Board, there is the role of the farmer, there is the role of the processor. So these reports, mostly are very good. But when we all do not define our roles and participate, each one of us as an individual, as a family, becomes very difficult. So when, everybody, I am clear in my mind, yes, we have serious issues with the cost of living that we are trying to address as a country. But one of the things I would want to say without shame from this forum is that if we want to address the cost of living so that it is not seriously felt, we must deliberately be willing and ready to work overtime. We must be willing and ready to increase or expand our revenue streams. So if we all depend on one particular stream, then it will be very difficult for us to be able to live the life that we want. But if, for example, as a farmer in 1 acre, you have your cow, which you can milk, you have a kitchen garden there where you grow your sukuma wiki, or where you have your own tree or avocado, you'll be able to find that even out of that particular acre of yours, you can easily be able to afford the very basics, right, that you require as a family. And whatever shilling that you earn, as a teacher, as an accountant, or wherever you are, because of that diversification, then you can be able to save. And when you have saved money that was going into buying food, then at least the effect will not be felt as much. So I'm saying briefly that, as you all know, each one of us consumes, or the average Kenyan consumes, 1 bag of maize per year. The average consumption is 134 kilos of meat. So what are you doing as a responsible Kenyan to grow enough food for your own family? Don't even grow for anybody else. Please support the government by growing on enough for yourself and your family. That's how we will be able to grow our country, Kenya. Na kwa hayo mengi sana nimesema, wacha niseme sasa, as you gentlemen leave this forum, we have a document that we require to ensure works, which we all commit to support. And I want to agree that in Africa, I think we are the first country to have a roadmap to ensure dairy sustainability. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and privilege for me to be here with you to launch this Kenyan Dairy Industry Sustainability Roadmap 2023-2033. I'm grateful to all of you for taking time from your busy and demanding schedules to come for this launch. As you are aware, sustainable development and climate change are major issues globally. The two issues are linked and are vital to the present and future well-being of the human race. Sustainable development is key in reducing the challenges posed on society by climate change. It is therefore indeed a very important occasion for us in the dairy industry as we launch our first sustainable roadmap, which seeks to accelerate the transformation of our industry towards a low-emission pathway while increasing profitability of dairy business. The United Nations in 2015 adopted the Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development, which among others seeks to attain clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, responsible consumption and production, and climate action. At the time of formulation and approval of these goals, the United Nations supported the climate change negotiations, which led the Paris Agreement on Climate Change in 2015. This agreement seeks to strengthen the global response to the threat of climate change by substantially reducing global greenhouse gas emissions in order to limit the global increase in temperatures to 2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial levels, while pursuing the means of limiting the increase to 1.5 degrees. It also seeks to strengthen the ability of countries to deal with the impacts of climate change. According to the United Nations in 2019, at least 1/20 of the 153 developing countries had undertaken activities to formulate and implement national adaptation plans to enhance climate adaptation and resilience. Kenya is among these countries, with our national adaptation plan of 2025-2030 showing our commitment to the Paris Agreement. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a vibrant dairy industry whose primary foundation is the estimated dairy earned population of 5.1 million and over 2 million small-owned and dairy farmers, with an estimated annual production of 5.2 billion liters of milk, valued at over 20 to 30 billion. The industry contributes significantly to national socio-economic development by generating raw incomes to dairy farmers, creating employment, supporting manufacturing, and being a source of household food and nutritional security. Milk is a major source of nutrition in Kenya, providing 7.3% of the calorific supply in 2021, which makes it fourth after cereals, pulses, and sugar sweeteners. And however, the potential of the industry has not been realized, mainly due to the low productivity, high cost of production, and other inefficiencies. The productivity of a large dairy herd at below 7 liters per day is low by global standards and contributes significantly to greenhouse gas emission. In 2015, Kenya's contribution to global greenhouse emissions was estimated at 93.2 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, of which 40% was from agriculture. Our livestock subsector is responsible for 90% of the agricultural emissions, with 15% coming from the dairy industry. The dairy emissions mainly emanate from the use of high-emission energy sources, poor feeding practices, and poor management of herd and dairy waste management. The gases of most concern are methane from the ingestion of cows and manure, and nitrous oxide from manure, fertilizer, and poor soil management. The two gases have a greater global warming potential than carbon dioxide. The Kenyan government aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from the dairy industry by 0.4 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent by 2030, as outlined in our National Climate Change Action Plan. The government of Kenya is committed to sustainable development and climate action. Our Constitution of 2010 is vocal on the obligation of the state to ensure sustainable exploitation, utilization, management, and conservation of the environment and natural resources, and to ensure the equitable sharing of the accruing benefits. In addition, there are several policies, legislative and strategic frameworks put in place by government to address climate change, including Vision 2030, National Adaptation Plan of 2015 to 2030, the National Determined Contributions of 2020-2030, Kenya National Climate Change Policy of 2016, and the National Energy Policy of 2018 and the Climate Change Act of 2016. The government is keen on climate financing, including mobilizing resources from the Green Climate Fund for climate change mitigation and adaptation. The State Department of Livestock, in partnership with the Kenyan Dairy Board, UN, FAO, and IFAND, are currently developing a project proposal on pathways to dairy net zero permanent. The proposal seeks to transition the dairy industry to lower greenhouse gas emissions and adopt more climate resilient dairy systems. The industry-led development of the Kenyan dairy industry sustainability roadmap of 2023 to 2033 that we are launching today is deemed an exciting addition that will complement the measures by government to enhance sustainability of our dairy industry and reduce gas house emissions. The government, under the leadership of His Excellency President William Ruto, is implementing the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the Beta Plan of 2022-2027. And this is anchored on 5 pillars. That is agriculture, MSME economy, housing settlement, healthcare, digital superhighway, and the creative economy. And in agriculture, dairy was selected as one of the key value chains for transformation. Then the transformative goals are 2. Number 1, double production of milk from 5 billion liters to 10 billion. Grow exports of dairy produce to 1 billion liters. Increase the percentage of formally marketed milk from 30% to 50%, and increase revenue of small-scale dairy farmers to Kenya shillings 56,000 per month. My ministry is developing an implementation roadmap to guide the realization of these goals. The stakeholders will be involved in due course to validate the roadmap in preparation for the implementation. The double production of milk interventions, including enhancing access to fodder and feeds, will be undertaken to double the productivity of milk per cow. This goal, over and above enhancing our self-reliance in milk and milk products, will also contribute to lower greenhouse gas emissions, as it has been proven that higher productivity of milk per cow is associated with lower emissions. We want our milk processors to be more efficient, handle more volumes, enhance production of high-value dairy products, and exploit the vast export market opportunities for dairy products in Africa and beyond. It is estimated by FAO that the African continent imported 1.56 billion kilograms of milk and milk products valued at US dollars 4.98 billion in 2021. The 5 top most important products by value were whole milk powder, skim milk powder, cheese, butter, and condensed milk. As a country, we need to invest in processing, marketing, and export of these products to enhance the turnover and profitability of our industry. In order to enhance our forest cover, His Excellency the President is leading the nation to increase the forest cover to 28.8% from 88% by planting 15 billion trees across the country to shield communities from the adverse effects of climate. And indeed, Monday 13th of this month has been declared a national tree planting holiday. I urge you to wholeheartedly participate in this event and make your contribution to grow our forest cover. The dairy industry is very vulnerable to climate change, and as stakeholders, we must do our best to conserve the environment, mitigate and adapt to climate change. In the same spirit, I also urge you to embrace smart agricultural technologies and clean energy sources as solar and biogas to enhance our productivity, efficiency, and care of the environment. And as all we gather in various counties on the Monday 13th, as we all support the President, I also want to ask you that we all mobilize our friends, our children, our relatives in supporting this exercise. The Cabinet is leading and this exercise on Monday, when the President, of course, will be launching the program. And I am happy that I will be so happy that we all come out to support. Every cabinet has 2 counties to monitor on in this exercise that runs for a number of years, because we want to do it in 5 years. And I'm happy to say that for those people in Makueni and those people in Samburu, I expect to meet you on Monday, because those are the counties that I am leading as the Agriculture Minister. And I also want to ask each one of us here, as we plant, we should not also forget that the Ministry of Agriculture has a mandate to ensure that Kenya has sufficient food and food of the right nutrition. So as we plant the other natural trees, I'm asking everyone else to be able to plant a fruit tree, something that you can be able to eat, because we want to have a blend of the indigenous trees and the front trees, because we achieve the objective of our forest cover and at the same time achieve our food and nutritional security requirements. I am aware that this roadmap we are launching today was industry-led with the support of the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. This is a commendable effort, and I take this opportunity to sincerely thank the State Department of Livestock, Kenya Dairy Board, Kenya Dairy Processors Association, and all the stakeholders who participated in this process. I also wish to thank USAID for their noble gesture of providing technical and financial support. I am informed that the roadmap takes a wholesome approach to our dairy industry, more sustainable by addressing 4 high-level goals aligned to our 4 pillars. That is the people, the plant, prosperity, and the principles of governance, as defined by its vision of a prosperous and environmentally sustainable dairy industry. The 4 high-level goals of the roadmap are: 1, competitively produce sufficient milk to meet the domestic demand and export targets. 2, supply quality, safe, and affordable milk while providing decent livelihoods across the dairy industry. And 3, lower the environmental footprint of the dairy industry to support the country in meeting its NDC targets. And 4, establish a properly governed and highly inclusive dairy industry. On the plant pillar, I understand the roadmap seeks to address emissions and energy management, water management, waste and effluent management, management of land and biodiversity, and animal welfare in the dairy industry. On prosperity pillar, increasing production of milk is one of the key strategies. These are noble objectives that complement the socio-economic development goals of the government. It is particularly noteworthy that the development of this document has been led by the stakeholders, particularly the private sector, who play a critical role in the development of our country. The roadmap is indeed a big statement of commitment by the stakeholders. I am optimistic that if we all work together as partners in dairy development, this document can be successfully implemented for the betterment of our dairy industry. Ladies and gentlemen, I conclude once again by wishing to congratulate the dairy industry stakeholders for the successful formulation of this roadmap. It is now my pleasure to declare the Kenyan Dairy Industry Sustainability Roadmap 2023-2033 officially launched for implementation. Thank you, and God bless you, and God bless Kenya.
Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give a standing ovation to the long. Let's give a standing ovation to Big Makofi Kabisa. Thank you. I would request now our Honorable Cabinet Secretary, together with the MD and the Chair, and the representative of the PS, plus the partners, to be around here. And please, we will count from 5 all through up to 1, and then we will cut the ribbon. Are we ready? Are we all ready? Are we watching? Okay, we will count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and officially, we have begun to prepare. Oh yes. Oh yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Again, the leading of this has been officially called. What my coffee? What my coffee? Yes, we need all the sector working group here for a group photo. And then immediately after this, Honorable Chief Guest, we will go right straight out to plant a tree, because that is your initiative and that is what you do next week on Monday, and everybody will do that. And then there is also a cake that we have to cut a cake just outside, and then mingle a little bit, plant a tree, and then we can live at our pleasure. Asante sana. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll have a cake. We'll have a cake straight. Please guide us, the usher, the MD, the chair. Let's all head outside. And we stand.